think they're becoming more common, I think particularly with younger generation, because they find it perhaps a bit easier to have conversations about financial matters that perhaps older generations haven't found that quite so easy. I think particularly in the UK, talking about finances can be a little bit taboo. And so I think they're becoming more common, but there still is emotive reasons around them. I mean, they're not romantic, I'm not going to pretend that they are, you know, and people will say, well, why am I going to go into a relationship expecting it to break down?
The process would be that each party has to obtain their own independent legal advice. There must be full and frank disclosure of all financial assets. And it must also particularise what their intentions are, so who is to have what on separation.
Both parties need to enter freely into it, so there needs to be no duress. So one of the things is that if you're entering into a prenuptial agreement, it's got to be signed at least 28 days before the wedding, so there can be no allegations of basically a prenup being shoved before somebody 2 days before the wedding and saying sign this, otherwise I'm not marrying you.
Sometimes people can be reluctant to enter into a pre and post-nuptial agreement because of the negative connotations that it presents, and also some of the uncomfortable discussions that the parties have to have. However, dealing with the document at the outset is much better than having to go through the process when should you ever separate or divorce. The legal fees for that are substantially more.
It's not saying that it's definitely going to happen, but if it did, you've got some clarity around what is going to happen because you've already had those discussions. It's easier to have those discussions when you're in a good place rather than trying to have those discussions when your emotions are heightened, when you're going through a divorce and you've got lots of different factors that are pulling you in different directions.